last couple races maybe been a little bit more challenging for the Fords in some manners. This track was a good track last year for Fords. Do you get a sense, or is it still too early, about how you guys feel as a group in the sense of what this track allows you guys to do that maybe you haven't been able to do the last couple of weeks?
It wasn't a really good track for me last year, so
Wow.
that's I know what you're talking about, and so hopefully some of that carries over for us. And it just wasn't real strong for myself. So Brad did come do the test here several months back and left very happy. We have pretty good speed in practice there, so we're definitely optimistic, but we have a lot to figure out as we get into the race conditions still.
Are you excited to get 50 additional minutes at COTA prior to the race?
Yeah, I like to practice. I like to get laps on track, especially when we're so limited nowadays between no testing essentially. Showing up to races going next week and we get no practice, so maybe it's just an offset, right? It's something that would definitely take as much as possible. If we had 50 minutes every week, I'd be a fan. I understand there's a whole lot else going on around that, and that's not my decision to make.
Having the Bristol win in your back pocket, how do you feel there going on dirt? Does it give you confidence, even though the two surfaces are different? It's still Bristol Motor Speedway.
You want my real answer?
Absolutely.
I wish I quit covering it in dirt. It's been my favorite racetrack for a really long time, and before I win. And I tolerate the dirt because it is still Bristol and it's still fun in certain ways. And I like dirt racing. I want to make that clear. I don't want to get bashed for this because it's something that I've enjoyed doing. A few late model races, some modified races. I had an absolute blast in real dirt cars. Our cars, I do not enjoy very much on dirt, and really I think it's more selfishly the fact that I really want another concrete Bristol race. I want another chance to go out there and win more races, and I feel like the dirt takes a little bit of our edge away there.
So, for years we haven't really been talking about road course winners, right? Because the analogy is that you guys have all become so proficient at running road courses that, if a guy comes and does a one-off, he's nowhere close to being as prepared as you. Well, this week they announced Jonathan Davenport's coming to run dirt. You have Jensen Button and Kimi running road courses. Why have things changed? Are people just more interested in NASCAR, or, are people just kind of looking for that guy that might get them a win and get into the playoffs?
I'd say those are all good possibilities, right? There's a tremendous amount of momentum in our sport. People are excited to come give it a shot at the premier level of motorsports, right? I think you talk about dirt racing and you don't skip over Jonathan Davenport's name, and he wants to come give it a shot on the dirt of Bristol, right? And I think it is going to be very tough for himself, for the road course ringers that come in for COTA, just because of the simple fact we talked about 2 minutes ago, right? There's very limited testing. Our practices go very quickly. It's hard to get a feel for a different race car, and I don't know. I've never driven anything that they can really compare to this car. I don't know, some people have mentioned Trans Am cars or some road racing cars that do have some similarities, but maybe that helps them come in and be a little bit closer. But in the past, I just felt like it was so hard to come in for a single race and be fully prepared that you spend most of the race trying to figure it out, and come to find out it's not very much like what your usual profession is week in, week out.
So I've driven a McLaren before you guys ever got on COTA, right? I got to drive a McLaren, went up to turn one, made that turn. What is Jensen Button, he's got these 3,400-pound stock cars. They're not used to hitting fenders. They're not used to trading paint. What's that? Is it going to be an eye-opening? Is he going to have to get depends in his driving seat? What's the deal?
It's going to hurt when you get up there because it's going to be 6 or 7 wide, and you're just all going to get sandwiched. That corner is definitely set up for different styles of road racing, where you can really get down to the center of the corner and make a move. And our cars are very robust, and that leads to the mindset that shove it down in there, and we start bouncing off one another. There's really no penalty for it. It was brutally rough last year, and I can't believe we didn't break more stuff right there. So tell them to hang on. I think that's the biggest thing is going to be a lot of it's not even wrinkled sheet metal anymore. I don't even know what to say, cracked fiberglass or Kevlar, whatever it may be. But it's going to be a learning experience. It's going to be rough compared to different levels of motorsports for sure.
Chris, you're in year 2 now with RFK and with Brett as teammate. You had the win at Bristol last year. Have expectations changed at all going into this year over last year, which was kind of a rebuilding year for you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that the expectations weren't there last year as well, though. We had a pretty high bar that we were trying to hold ourselves to, and didn't think of it purely as a rebuild year. It was, we got a lot of good pieces in place, and we're tackling a new race car, so the whole garage is kind of rebuilding and getting ready for it. So I think that our expectation is fairly similar. Obviously we have that win. We've got some poles across 2 cars, some really strong runs along the way. That to us say that we were definitely competitive at a lot of different styles of racetracks. So we'll work hard to make those wins now and get after it. But the expectation is still to go out there and try and win every week, right?
Right.
It just took us a little while to get to that point. Our expectation was there. It just wasn't our reality for the first third to half of the season.
So you feel like this year that the reality, it's more of a reality
I
that
think
the playoffs are a definite
our
goal and
expectations,
possibility?
I would say, are more realistic now. We thought they were realistic back then too, and you're always optimistic going in, but we have a lot of things that tell us that what we're expecting on this year and winning several races across 2 teams and making the playoffs is definitely in our ballpark right now.
This is Daniel Hemrick, driver of number 11 Collard Grits Chevrolet. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also check out one of those 2 videos beside me. Visit frontstretch.com for more racing content.